heaven, hallowed by thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as if it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive them who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Слава Ісусу Христу!
Дякуємо, отче Богдане. Ну а зараз ми разом з Андрієм запросимо на
Together with
сцену
Andriy, we shall welcome the participants of the intellectual discussion. So, first and foremost, I would like to invite Andriy Andrushkiv, the professor of the Ukrainian Catholic University.
В'ячеслава Климова, співвласник нової пошти, співзасновник та президент спілки українських підприємців.
Founder and president of Union of Ukrainian Interpreters. Svitlana Khyliuk, the director of the School of Law.
Молчановського, керівник Офісу інновацій, голова комітету з розвитку сфери штучного інтелекту в Україні, Міністерстві цифрової трансформації.
The Ministry of Digital Transformation, and Oleksiy Molchanovskyi, advisor in strategy and change management, managing partner, lecturer at the Ukrainian Catholic University, and she will moderate today's discussion. So please, you have the floor. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, and all those who join us offline and online, fellow panelists. It is a great audience, and as was already mentioned by our moderators, the question that we shall be discussing today, we shall be discussing both online and offline, those who are invited to join me on the stage, how to grow the wings for Ukraine. Now, we can have a following suggestion that we believe that Ukraine will have wings. We believe that it is truly possible. So the question that we have selected for this part of the discussion and the thinking for our panelists is where the strengths would come from for those wings. And there's really different, profound participants of our today's panel, and therefore we will cover a number of aspects today now. Thanks to Andriy Andrushkiv, we will think today together how the strengths for the wings will be taking from a very challenging and yet important combination of faith and the ability to stand on your own grounds. Now, thanks to Svitlana, we shall look into the deepness and the importance of justice as the source of the power. Now, thanks to Vladislav, we'll talk about how the Entrepreneurs Initiative might help not to be afraid and move on and to acquire certain results. Now, thanks to Oleksiy Molchanovskyi, we will talk about how the science, the facts, and the ability to use everything we've mentioned before could become the source of our strength. I think we will use the same precedents, and I think that it's truly a great honor for me to pass the floor to Andriy first. So where will this strengths come from? If we're talking about this combination of strengths and the ability to stand on your grounds, as I was preparing myself for this discussion, I thought that I will drop this level of intellectuality at this discussion. So when I first saw the wings, and I grew up in the village, we had, a lot of turkeys, chickens, and the other poultry with wings. And the relationship with them was very simple. When we planned, to cook something on Sunday out of turkey, then Friday was the last turkey for the turkey or for the chicken. So starting from the 1st of March 2022, I've joined the armed forces. So this question is not about growing the wings, but whether these wings will ensure the security. Because if the wings do not guarantee the security, then these wings are served, you know, kind of barbecue wings, or they are served as a dish. So it is a matter of survival for us, for our nation, for our country. We either grow wings that guarantee the security to us and to the next generations that's yet to come. And you need to consider that as an obligation. Because if you don't have it as a task, as an obligation, but as something optional, well, in this case, you can once become a chicken and you want to become an eagle. So I would like to start my thoughts with these opinions. Now, Svitlana, thank you. It is a great honor and pleasure for me to join you and to share my thoughts. And answering your question about how the country can grow wings, I would start by saying that you need wings to fly. And you may grasp the strength for doing that from many things, but today I would like to mention three things. First is the faith and the fact that we can do that. And we have the chance to do that. Because in the beginning, some of our partners did not believe in us, so they gave us 3 days. So for us as the society, it's important to preserve this faith. So one of the reasons that gives the ground for us to believe is this simple fact that Ukraine has 6 million IDPs and we don't have refugee camps. And that means that the society has a great potential of humanity and solidarity, which is already a lot. So whenever we are saying that we should believe in ourselves, that we are righteous, we have the rights. We've been in the shadow of Russia for the last 3 centuries. We've been affected by Russification and other processes. We don't have a lot of statehood experience. We don't have a lot of the democratic traditions, but still, over the past 30 years, the Ukrainian society had revolutions for 3 times. Now, so this liberty, this freedom, it's deep into the DNA of our people, so we have all the grounds to faith, to believe. The second thing is the subjectivity, because Ukraine as a state has tried to be a lot of different things all together and move in many directions. At the same time, we know where it led us. I think one of the sources for our thanks would be the fact that we finally decided for ourselves who we are, where we are going, and what's our proposal to the whole world. Now, in order to fulfill this task, we need the third thing, which is kind of awkward, but it gives life. And this is the truth about us, about others, about what we do. And in conclusion, I wanted to say that in order to grow the wings, it's difficult, it's lengthy, it's painful, but the magnificence of flying, it's worth it. And thank you, Svitlana. Vyacheslav. I thank everyone, and I'm very happy to see a lot of friends here, and every year. This is really a profound astonishment to join you this evening when I saw the main idea of the panel about the wings. Just as Andrew, I started searching for any analogs, any similarities that would be understandable for me. As an engineer in the past, or as an acting engineer, I understood that wings, for me, it's all about the energy. And I understood that today we have to speak of different forms of energy that we shall be looking and searching so that Ukraine would not only survive and gain victory in this war, but to continue its development. Now, should we search for different sources of energy inside our country? It is evident, even now, amidst this difficult and inconvenient discussion for the society about where should we, well, for example, take the money to support this war, it is clear that one of the sources of this energy is the energy of the economy, is the energy of entrepreneurship. This is exactly what will help our heroic boys and girls, soldiers, defend this country. Because in just 2 years, the whole nation clearly understood that war or a victory, it's all about the bravery of our soldiers. It's all about the heroism. It's all about the spirit of the society. Added with the money, added with the working economy, the technologies that are one of the decisive factors at this current stage. So should we understand this, then it becomes clear that the task of the Ukrainian society is to relieve these type of energy, the energy of entrepreneurship, which creates miracles. And this has been proven many times by the world history, when the entrepreneurship developed the tools and the source for the future victory. Now, this is what I would like to be talking about this panel as a representative of Ukrainian business and as a person who is confident that without an economy, without entrepreneurship, the victory will have a high price, extremely high price, or not the forbid that we're expecting to have. Vyacheslav, thank you. Oleksiy, the science, data, facts. Well, maybe the question should go to Andrew.
Okay, so I don't know if this is of your current profession of, I don't know what is this. What is the defining thing? But I am the person who has to calculate and limit something, because when me and Alexandra were preparing for all that and we were discussing, okay, now it mixed in my head, it's quite confused. So I really want to take something that Vyacheslav mentioned and focus on that. Okay, we want to grow some wings and we need to have some resources, but let's just look at the question, what kind of wings do we want to have? Like, what do we see? What do we envisage? Andrei says maybe we want to see ourselves as eagles and perceive ourselves, but what kind of eagle? We have many of them. And we speak of economy, we speak of capacity, we speak of resources, and we do understand that now we have a huge crisis. We're losing people. People are just leaving. How to return them? We will have the deficit of high qualified staff. We will do have it, because these people will, they have to be here. They will help economy grow. We're losing enterprises. Now those under occupation and now in temporary occupation. So the question is, do we want to restore it as it was? A different thing to be there. What do we want? So it seems to me that this whole conversation must be based Okay, it's like I'm the person representing the data block here. So it seems to me that quite often we lack this reliance on an understanding like what the reality is. Reality is painful. Svitlana mentioned that. We have to accept it. If we don't, we won't be able to have a good foundation under our feet for later to build the model, to develop the model of the state, the society, to be strong enough. So we have to make this painful decision, yes, go and count. Like, we have to understand what we can support, what we have to refuse from, what we're investing in, where exactly are we investing, where are we directing the resources, limited ones. So my opinion is that, yeah, we have this concept as... Okay, we can only start analyzing this. We all realize what the threats are. Just, again, to repeat, we can't make decisions without understanding where we are, at which point, and what is the destination point for us. Okay, what is the AI? What's with the AI? Yeah. And what's happening with the AI? It won't save us. Like, bang, and... we'll have to think on our own, using our own intelligence. Why? Why should we? Okay, it's a super hard task. So how much time do I have for that super hard task? Tell me, like 2 minutes? Yeah, this is a super hard one.
Ні, ти не стрибнеш у будь-якому разі, але ми дамо Олексію час.
Okay, we're giving some time to Oleksiy right now. Yeah, AI is a thing. Okay, we have this discussion. Okay, 2 minutes. We have this discussion ongoing right now. The outburst of technologies, the breakthrough technologies, these models helping whom? Low-qualified staff to grow to the high-qualified level, or these help the high-qualified specialists? Because low-qualified, you even have to know what to ask the GPT chat. You have to pose the right question. We don't know. We are right now, okay, so many ideas and approaches we have floating around, but what we definitely know is that, Svitlana, sorry, which lawyers will have their, will the AI replace the lawyers? No, it won't. We are eternal. We will never cease to exist. Okay. We're taking this as, yeah. Those lawyers using the AI will be there forever. Okay, but we understand that this technology will never go anywhere. It will not disappear. We have to master it. The faster we integrate it to help us to reach the goal where we are moving. And again, AI is impossible without data. You cannot use AI and apply it without the data. Where shall we take the data from? And coming back to what I mentioned before. So we'll have to think. It's imminent. All right. Okay. The fact that we'll have to think and grow not just any wings and not becoming anyone, and we need to know how to look into the eyes of reality and try to find some strength, including economic one. All right. Let's try to see. And let's try to understand, in our experience, in our history, of what happened to us, like what was happening to us all this time. What is demonstrating us how those strengths are being combined? Like what itself is a manifestation of those strengths. Svitlana, she has aces in the sleeve. She does. So Svitlana, come on, show the aces. All right. Now, in hard times, you have to find like a foundation, a place to rely on, to stand on. Not the future plans, not the dream of the future, but just to see something that's happening here now at this specific moment that gives you an assurance that your vision and plans for future and your ideas that these basically can come true eventually. And in this super hard time, me as a lecturer, I am observing the students' community, the environment, those young people, the young generation. We hear a lot of criticism towards them, yeah? We do various type of criticism, like this whole classification, X, Y, Z generations. Z generation gets low score, unfortunately, but I just want to share one story. And I know a lot of those stories from the law school, but this is one of those stories that gives me hope and enlightens me. I'm pretty sure even, that it's not just the chance for us to make it okay, but if we do take efforts, it's definitely going to be okay. The law school has a so-called moot court community. I know that we have people from the legal community. They know that this is like a community that annually puts teams for the competition in different formats, various court processes. So we put 5 or 6 teams for international competition, and one of our teams was preparing for the Finnish competition, informational law competition. They were studying GDPR and other related docs, protecting the personal data and EU standards. And the trainer of our team, it was the best tradition. Our graduate was the trainer, so when one person graduated, he got some good place in a good law firm, and he was training and preparing the team by February 2022. Then this trainer joined the armed forces, but he continued doing this in online format. And he was able to do it online by the moment when he was close to Bakhmut. You have to understand, when you're close to Bakhmut, you cannot, it's so hard to prepare the team for that kind of competition. They trained by themselves. The team did it by themselves. So when this team represented UCU in Ukrainian Helsinki, they got the best oralist award for like the best speech in the court. So what does the team do with the award? Yeah, we have to understand that. But one of the sponsors, one of the biggest Finnish law companies, they gave this monetary award to the team, 4,000 euros. I'll tell you that 2 members of the team, they have the scholarships in the UCU, so their families don't have a chance to financially cover the educational fees. So it's for your support. It's from your support. What the team is doing with the award, they give the money to the scholarship fund of the law school for one of the first-year students to have a chance to enter the course and continue the course. Yeah, so that was it. And it's not even about the amount of money. It's the approach. It's how hard you're working, your attitude eventually. So the stories like that and the young generation that we do raise and nurture, it makes me confident, this whole thing. It makes me confident that we have all the chances, not even just to grow the wings, but just to fly high. And the sky's the limit. Thank you, Svitlana. Thank you so much. Vyacheslav, will you tell us about history as well? Okay, I will continue, of course, with great pleasure, because Svitlana is, one of her messages was that definitely in each crisis, or when you're looking for a way out, you have to stand on something solid, on solid ground. And for me, when it comes to entrepreneurial energy, the economic energy, this solid thing, this solid foundation, it's about having certain experience. Ukraine already has that experience. As a state where entrepreneurship was developing and still develops quite fast, quite intense and actively. So we have to understand that entrepreneurship per se exists only for 30 years, since 1991. If we take the history, we're comparing ourselves, we're trying to, we want our country to be successful in that. 30 years ago, there was no entrepreneurship at all. It didn't exist as a concept. The first 5 years of our independence, or even 10 years of independence, I can't now relate to that establishment of the entrepreneurial class or stratum, but okay. Within the last 25 years in Ukraine, we've been launching and developing absolutely fantastic businesses. Those businesses which now, especially when Ukrainians are now all around Europe, they're everywhere in the world. Now we can see that so many businesses are here we can be proud of, even comparing ourselves with the best global and European ones, okay? So we all do remember how amazed we were when Ukrainians came to Poland or Germany, when they didn't find there, when our people didn't find there some convenient online banking services, this fantastic Ukrainian retail services, when they couldn't manage to find so many services, including like ours. Yeah, so it all tells us, it all shows us that Ukrainians are absolutely able and capable with their potential to create super fantastic cases, success stories and successful cases. So it goes for such big projects that we have, huge projects which give immense impact for the economy. And it also goes for tiny, small cases, you know? Like, okay, we may have a micro enterprise or small enterprise, but hundreds of thousands of these, maybe even millions, you know? If we again speak of the examples, like exemplary cases, one of the brightest ones for me individually, one of the brightest examples of that micro impact, which is really crucial. When it all started, I was having this round of trips in our affiliates. Our people had to see us. We were making ourselves visible for our people, and I came to Khmelnytsky region, to one of our affiliates, and I spent the whole day there, in that office, and I saw an interesting case. When I came there in the morning, I actually don't remember, but we had huge rolls of pixel fabric, the fabric they use for uniforms. These rolls were delivered to that delivery point. Someone came to take these away, the rolls of fabric, not some Khmelnytsky some small Khmelnytsky enterprise. In the evening, I again came to the same spot, to the same delivery spot, and I saw the same people there, the same entrepreneurs who brought huge batch of ready-made uniforms for the armed forces, made of that fabric that they got in the morning. That for me was a super fantastic example. I was amazed. And I realized at that moment that big companies and really tiny, small micro companies, they all are contributing to our resistance. They shape the economy. They actually help us to manufacture those FPV drones that our people do need right now in the army. The uniforms, remember, the state in the beginning was had problems with that type of supply, the food, and a lot of stuff. And I do truly believe and I hope, and I always mention it to our state authorities, that this maximum liberalization has to be there when it comes to the ammunition manufacturing. It should be there. So we have to let the entrepreneurs do that, okay? We have to give them the way into that. We do not even need to limit or to hamper the income. It will limit itself. But the entrepreneurs, they will become the power that will not only enrich the economy and give some fresh blood to it, but also the defense sector. And again, I will reiterate my faith in these future wings that we're about to grow. My faith is based on this feeling that we are so strong and the energy that entrepreneurs do have, and they demonstrate it. And it's also based on Ukrainians understanding, how they understand the reality. Ukrainians are the people who are looking for some, let's say, welfare. They want to live better. They want to have convenience. They appreciate welfare and stability, okay? That is why we have these wonderful villages, flourishing villages and towns and cities. And at the same time, we are a nation that primarily cherishes and appreciates freedom. And this combination of freedom as a basic value and welfare plus stability this, I guess, is something that is the best formula for every entrepreneur. Vyacheslav, you remember after the occupation, witnesses told us that Russians were asking our people, who allowed you to live like that when they occupied our villages? Like, how dare you living like this? Oleksiy, please, grab a mic. Okay. I'd like to continue on Vyacheslav's speech. So, yeah, I'll tell a little bit what we're doing right now when it comes to innovations in our university. We do have this key project called the Impact Network of UCU. And the key definition is the network, in that formula. And I have this habit, it's typical for me to use metaphors and various images. And this autumn I had a speech given at the day of UCU, the TEDx. I was speaking of that networking, and I had this phrase like, I see these networks everywhere. Ukrainians are often compared with ants, we can build these horizontal links very well. And our project, the Impact Network of UCU, what is it about? We really want the university to distribute its presence, spread its presence, not only in Western Ukraine, in Kyiv, but also in Eastern regions and Southern regions, everywhere. Someone knows us better, someone not that good. And our ambassadors in these regions, who these are? Our graduates. So I'm so pleased, I'm so happy that I communicate so many of our graduates. I stay in touch, I ask them of their needs, and this is something that gives you the wings, because every day I have 2 or 3 calls from various regions, absolutely different regions. And these are graduates, but some of them already are not. And they manage to move forward, advance their careers, and you can hear what they're doing in their small communities and small settlements. Yes, they have challenges, of course, but on the other hand, you can see how are they tackling the challenges, and you understand that, first of all, I am proud. I'm proud that I'm the citizen of the same country, and they are the citizens of the same country. We are united. We're coming from the same university. You can feel the wings are actually growing physically. So, but there is a shadowy part of the story, because recently there has been a survey that shows that Ukrainians do not trust each other very well. It's still very low level of trust. Full-scale invasion demonstrated that we do have the potential the trust potential when people from eastern, southern regions, northern regions, where there was occupation, they were going to western regions, they were met, and the trust was built. So when I was bringing my relatives, my friends, when I drove them to the Polish border, I saw these lines. People were standing there in lines of different social status, from different social bubbles. They were communicating and they were trying to handle the challenges. That was a bright example when the trust was emerging. It was being built. So this situation is tragic, but it shows us that we can build more trust with each other. And networking, we want to strengthen our economy, our country, via this networking. Okay, so trust. These are the linking elements, the hooks. I take society as a fabric made out of various threads, of various colors and density, and we all are those hooks that are holding the threads. The more connections we have with each other, not just we know each other, when we do some projects together, or when we try to help the armed forces, or to help the IDPs, or we just do business or teach our students, it gives additional links, creates them, and it strengthens the fabric of society. Respectively, the enemy for enemy will be harder and harder to tear it apart.
And I think that it is part of the mission of our university to sew the society together in places where there are holes or in places that can tear apart. So I am grateful to everyone here, because you are helping us to keep our society together. Thank you, Oleksiy. So much interesting, because every panelist is profoundly notorious of certain things, and when we kind of come up with stories. They touch upon the aspects that we've mentioned. So what Oleksiy mentioned relates to the feelings of justice and the ability to defend and protect what's dear to us. We have a lot of multidisciplinary things, and we understand that part of the force comes from the ability to combine things, to integrate things, and surely it is in the program, but it's in the atmosphere, it's in the environment of the Ukrainian Catholic University. Andrei, I think I want to reaffirm the words of the Oleksiy. Just 3 months ago, I was calling you, I have a matter like that. Well, we have a graduate like that, and you need to read the thesis, and it contains all the answers that you need for the service. And the Ukrainian Catholic University gives the education, gives the experts, so it produces the experts. So let me kind of acquaint you with them. So let me tell you who they are, so you can get acquainted. Because traditionally, from the times of the Soviet Union, there is this part of kind of a lack of trust, like who is this, and what's going to happen after an awkward conversation, what it will lead to. And I think that this brings a challenge that impacts our everyday work. And starting from the March of this year, my service, it's all about the communication, and since March till the end of August, my task was to interview a variety of Ukrainian defenders. So it was a story in Donetsk, to the south of Новосілки. There is the village called Blagodatne, and there was a news that Ukrainian soldiers have deoccupied the village of Blagodatne, and it was a great honor for me to interview one of the crews of Max Pro vehicle. That was an assault team, participated in the assault operation in this small village. It was a moment that was fairly difficult, because usually the Ukrainian armed forces, it's 45 years old or more. Well, people are different, not only young, but primarily over 45 years old. Look, I'm calling these people kind of Mykolas. So you imagine this person, and that's it. It's very simple, very straightforward. And in order to interview Mykola, you would need to smoke with him a couple of cigarettes, and then Mykola will get used to me, because I'll be doing the interview, so that he would see that my colleagues are establishing the equipment, so that he would keep calm. We start talking to him. I'm asking how things, and he tells me about the assaults, about his comrades. And I'm telling him, like, do you trust this person, the colleague? And he will say, look, if I'm not gonna trust him, then we'll both end up dying. But kind of, that's crazy, you know? Trusting, because Ukrainians are not very keen in for trusting. I trust because I know, and he trusts because he knows. We kind of tested one another. And later on in the course of the interview, I'm asking him, what do you want? And he says, and it's always like very simple things. I want to go home. I want to join my wife. I want to, to see my children. And then he says, I want to have a chance to trust others in the way that I trust my comrades. I want, while I'm, here, there will be a decent school, there will be a decent hospital, there would be, I don't know, nobody would be poking on others, just very simple, very clear things, and I kind of stand and understand that I'm receiving a very concise, course of public administration in very simple words from this Mykola, and I understand that this is the task for the future. And whenever we're saying that we believe in the armed force of Ukraine, we trust the armed force of Ukraine, so the task is that all those people serving in the armed forces of Ukraine and other defense forces, that they would trust one another, and that you would trust the educational system, the medical system, those structures that are inspecting the businesses, the other institutions that are, I don't know, allocate the land plots or doing any other manipulations. So that's the task for the future. I mean, to have a chance for us to have this trust, to be confident in one another and in institutions. Look, when we were opening this discussion, you were saying that any conversations and any thoughts about wings, we have to start those things with security. And now you're saying about the trust. Look, these things, they seem to live on different planets. How do you combine that in your mind? Well, security, it's something fundamental. It's, if there's no security, then trust is, illiteracy. And if you don't have the knowledge that you can trust, if you don't have the information, if you, I don't know, if there's no intelligence, and if Mavic is not in the air, then everything is dangerous and risky. So trusting is dangerous, but at the same time we want to protect our security and develop our trust. Well, we just need to do our work, just as the person I was interviewing. I mean, he's not, doing something on Max Pro. Instead, he's going to Blagodatna. Look, I've interviewed around 100 of servicemen. They're all saying, like, you do your job. And I'm kind of fascinated every time. The person is doing his job and is expecting the same out of others. He wants to trust others that, like others in the unit and others around himself in Ukraine, are doing the same thing, that is doing their job. Oleksiy says that we need to think, Andriy says that we need to do our job to be able to rely on one another, that others who are doing these jobs. Svitlana, what do we have with the challenges, and how should we approach to things? Because you said to face the challenges, we need to understand the complexity of our situation. Now, should we dive very deep in the fact that it's all complicated, we won't have an inspirations to grow the wings. Look, I think this is not an exclusive process. The things that are simple, linear, easy to understand, I mean, they're not giving a lot of, happiness, or is this just a small happiness or rapid one? Yesterday, Taras, our rector, has mentioned about happiness. And he was saying that the happiness can be a deeper feeling of satisfaction out of the process, or it could be, a momentous. And that complexity shouldn't be frightening. The life is not becoming simpler, it's becoming more complex. But it gives abilities that were never before. And going back to the law school of the Ukrainian Catholic University, because this is the ideas that I serve, that takes 99% of my life. And talking about the complexity, we're trying to pilot a course for restoring the energy, for restoring the infrastructure. And we'll have the lawyers and the architects in the same room. So these are the master students, and they will have to study together And as the results of this course, they have to fulfill one of the tasks for Mariupol Reborn, to reformat the public space, to do other tasks. Whether it's going to be easy, no. Whether it's going to be easy for us to have this course, no. Lawyers and architects, they speak the different language, they live on different planets, but we create an opportunity, we create a platform where this is possible, and we have high expectations of the outcomes. So the complexity, it's something that has to inspire, because, I mean, solving an easy math task won't make you happy. In fact, you'll be much happier when you solve a truly difficult task. And I'm proud that Ukrainian Catholic University is not searching for easy tasks and easy solutions, but in all of its strategic directions, it sets the goal to resolve complex tasks. And as our president of the university says, Boris Huzak says, you need to go deep, you need to go cross the current. Even in this complexity, you can find the strengths. Vyacheslav, now who can tell about facing the complexities, if not for an entrepreneur? Now, what's the approach? Where do you grasp this ability? Because surely there will be complexities. You even know that there will be complexities, but where do you get strengths to overcome them? Well, we could be, masters of sport in overcoming complexities. And I think that as for complexities in overcoming them, I would like to go back to what Andrei has mentioned, because truly, I can also hear, and I also talk to military with us, a lot of them. We have 3,257 of our employees. They're mobilized and they participate in the war. They fight in the war. So I'm listening about this difficult job, about this war. Every job is based on professionalism, on a skill. The ability to do that, the ability to drive or to use Max Pro, the ability to deliver parcels in an effective manner, the ability and the professionalism, to bake bread. I really like this statement, the quote, or rather a word from a French language. I heard it back during those times where I could be visiting France. So there's this word artisan. Well, maybe there are people who speak French professionally. Well, artisan, it's kind of craftsman. It could be translated as craftsman. That is a person who can do something in a quality manner. It's a game of words, every understandable to everyone. Art and French and professionalism, craft in our language. So I'm confident that overcoming complexities and difficulties, it requires the professionalism on every single position, on every single workspace where everyone of us is working. We tend to forget about this when, even during the war, we appeal to the love of the nation, to patriotism, and to many other big things. But you have to know how to open fire from the turret of Max Pro. You need to know how to operate an FPV drones. You need to know, if you're a military engineer, you need to know how to construct fortifications in the way they would be saving lives. You need to bake the best croissants in Lviv. And I think the mission of every Ukrainian and their contribution into the successful future of Ukraine is all about the professionalism at their places of occupation. So let us, start doing kind of simple things on our own places, but in a high quality manner. Let us, send or mail the parcel in due time, because sometimes it means the life being saved. Let us kind of learn how to cook professionally, like it is today, because it infuses you with energy and satisfaction. Let us construct in a high quality manner. We have Andriy Havrush with us, and he knows what it means to construct in a quality manner. Let's produce high quality products like the family of Ivanchuk. I've got a lot of friends here today, so I'm sorry if I haven't mentioned some of you. So the professionalism, which might appear something that is simple, but still it sets the complexity, this difficult fabric that Oleksiy has mentioned. Now, these are the components of success. Now, taking the thought and going back to Oleksiy with a question, how this area, the facts, the science, how they're combined with the understanding of ethics, the ethics of labor in particular. Where's the border, as you can see it, what the science can bring and how it turns into the ethics? Surely these are the questions to be raised at the Ukrainian Catholic University. Well, that's an interesting question. Well, Vyacheslav mentioned the ethics of labor, and we can have a lot of evidence-based. We have indicators, we can have metrics, we can have the, plan involving every day and then every labor. And then we face with the ethics of labor. If something is not mentioned in the plan, on the other, what's your understanding of the ethics of labor? Okay, we switched now. Let's say, let's quote the Vyacheslav. Let me tell you, when you can't do well in a failing way, when we're doing something good once after another, not when the sun is shining, not when the month is April, but when we cannot do anything else but good. So this is something from the field of ethics, the values. This is the strong aspect of the Ukrainian Catholic University. This is what it integrates into many things. On the other hand, we have data, we have metrics, and all the other aspects.
Okay, so the data, the metrics, I'll push it there. The labor ethics from the other side, I'll take. Okay, I will, because we speak of the university and we haven't mentioned the students. All right. So what Vyacheslav was mentioning right now and Svitlana about complexity, I say yes, and I stand for it. But I've been listening to those statements, and I try to imagine my average student, my kids in particular. Well, they're school children, but anyway. So we have now a problem because we do say that we will have a deficit of staff, working hands. So we now understand that we need to have a high level of professionality, of competence. So you mentioned this French word when we speak of the masters, yeah? The masters, it means two things, not just the degree, but the masters, those who actually can master something and do something. And we want these people to solve complex tasks. Even if we take the qualification framework for masters, those who can handle the complex tasks, split them into simple, build a plan on how to reach that, not just doing what they're told. That's the thing. And here I can see that we do face the following. We have to know how to demonstrate to the students that we're working with, to show them the affordable success. Because if we put too complex tasks for them, if it's too complicated, they may not even understand like what they need to give. In this aspect, we can talk of the following. We need, when we measure the data, when we analyze the data, when we understand the levels of complexity, then we can identify the so-called low-hanging fruits, something we can reach faster, and give the dose of positive feeling, the dopamine, like that you're mastering that, okay? And that gradually, for the person to gradually train the muscle, the brain muscle, and do more and more complex tasks. We're moving in that direction. We have this Josip Slipi's statement, wish for big things. And we want to wish and aspire those big things, but what the big thing is, it's subjective. Big is a subjective concept for many people, in particular young people. We have together to allow them to reach something which is big for them, which they consider to be big. Okay, for the universities not to become those ivory towers, as we call it. In our university, we have it. I mean that we're fighting against it. I mean, we're going to communities. We do have these wonderful projects, socially oriented training, and this is about the following: showing the students, okay, we have the actual project, we have the actual NGOs or CSOs project from the community, from business. Do that. Look, okay, this is a complex thing. Analyze that, solve. But this is a real life, and then gradually, step by step, they will just go there into the real world, and they will solve the complex tasks the society is expecting them to solve, just like the business. Okay, with the students, with my students, 3-5% of time I'm giving lectures, but mostly I'm working with strategies. I have a social contract with them. What is that about? We teach them how to strategize, all right? To understand, to analyze, not just to learn by heart. What is a strategy? How can we reach the place we want to reach? That's how we build the training process. One requirement for them in the contract, when they graduate, not to do some shit, let's put it simple. And unexpectedly, when it comes to ethics, their labor ethics, when they are learning, when they're engaged, we saw it works well, that kind of requirement, because there's no pressure. We're not putting on them pressure to look good, just to learn automatically. The horizon planning, they know what that is, they know what they're learning for. Okay, let's take a closer look at what we have among colleagues in the hall, what questions we have maybe in the audience to all the panelists or to specific ones. How can we grow the wings as a country? Where do we need to get strength for that and resource? And within each of the aspects, we have very interesting professional panelists. What else do we want to ask, ladies and gentlemen, if we do? Well, after all these discussions about the wings, okay, so help me with the mics. We have someone who will deliver the mic to you directly. Thank you so much, Svitlana Khyliuk, International European University. I just want to ask you of the following. We talk about wings today, but we understand that we need to have a breakthrough in something. How can we do that? In which sector? I mean, the country. Okay, let's move to another question. Let us accumulate this. Somewhere next to you, we had a hand raised, I guess. If you have a question, do raise your hand. That would be much simpler for us. And we also have some more. Good. Okay, we're just, the breakthrough for Ukraine. How to make that happen? And please. Please. Good evening, Nina Levchuk, Impact Force. So we would love to ask, all the table would love to ask. So in your opinion, Which basic values should politician have to find this peace formula? Thank you so much. Peace formula, very, very simple and okay. Breakthrough for the state, peace formula, all right. And let's have the third one just to hit it. Okay, so our enemies have this saying, the one who is born to crawl, he cannot fly. So they are crawling. And crawling in so many of them are crawling across the border. What actually gives us a hope that Ukrainians will fly above them faster, better, stronger than these crawling entities. And that crap which is crawling will never actually win because we have those who are flying. Wonderful question. So you can pick out of that assortment or maybe several. Okay, Andriy. I'm ready to answer. Give an answer for the first one, the breakthrough. And Andriy, who is sitting right in front of me, I guess he doesn't remember me, or you do? Okay. Who'll confess? On March 8th, me and my colleagues, we had to hide 3 big cars with equipment. And I started calling to my friends and people I know, asking, give me a clue to whom I can talk. They gave me a number, and AV there was next to the number. They told me, call that guy. I called via the signal, a nice voice said, I will give you the GPS coordinates, just come. And me and my commander, the colleagues, we came out of the car. We had Andriy coming, and he told us everything, where we can come, the object, and so forth. He said goodbye, and he's like, have the keys when you just leave, just put the keys in this specific place. My commander, the colonel, asked me who that was. I said, one from the Forbes list. He says, it can't be, oh, you're kidding me. So yeah, that was true. The answer, flying, it's about decreasing the transactional activity. When we negotiate, when we reach the consensus to give trust to each other, we leave you the keys, okay? So we leave you the keys, that is, okay? Yeah, but we love the keys. We left the keys when we left the place. Okay, okay, you can check. Did you wash the dishes? No. When I was leaving that place in April, we cleaned everything. So yeah, that's yeah. Decreasing the transactional interaction. This is something that we have to move towards, to fly high, fly faster, and fly further. The distance between people, the power-based trust. Okay. Shrinking the distance. It's not just the distance vertical one; it's horizontal as well. How can I get information on the person I need in the fastest way? Who can help me to do it in the fastest way, to get an answer, to find a solution, find a partner for a project, to understand that this person would be the best one, will fit me, will match me. For this to be a perfect match between me and partner, the optimal one, okay? It's about effectiveness. Yeah, it's about effectiveness. Good. If someone wants to talk about peace formula or the breakthrough or something else. Okay. It's quite weird, but for me, 3 people from different corners of the world, they actually ask the same question. These all are the same. These all are components of the same question. Breakthrough is equal to understanding of how to get the victory, and our politicians' competence and qualification will assure that. So, look, as for me, in my personal opinion, by the way, I start answering the question about politicians. I hate them. I don't know how they work, actually. I don't want to give any advice to those people. Well, we have a couple in the hall, but not the monstrous ones. Okay. Yeah. I think that the entry point for that competence to grow, this all should start from the understanding of the actual situation, where Ukraine will be in long-term perspective. That's what I want to say. For me, this perspective is the following. For quite a long time, maybe for eternity, forever. We will be the frontier state for so many years. We are the state that is located at the border. We're bordering two big concepts, the civilized world and how can I call that non-civilized world, like the softest way to say that. If we accept this idea as a starting point for us to strategize, in the process of strategizing, then we realize, and then we make it clear that ordinary, usual tools that fit ordinary, usual, let's call it countries with typical processes, these don't match. We have to be radically stronger in so many sectors, in so many aspects. The strength of our army, the strength of our economy, that's what I mean. The strength of our science, which generate technology, applicable technology, the power of communication and the strength of our spirit, of our people. Much more radical it should be, much stronger than certain average level. We are not an ordinary state. And it's not the ordinary world we are in right now. We have to realize this. And out of that understanding, we will, let's say, generate certain actions, numbers of actions and sets of actions that can give us the competent politicians. Any reforms may not be normal or mediocre. These have to be radical, drastic, groundbreaking to give us the maximum effect. Any approaches, let's say, any approaches when it comes to the armed forces management, these have to gather the best global practices. We have to accumulate it. And we have to direct ourselves at the best. Or even be better than the best sometimes. We have to do it. And this whole understanding, we have to understand that any reforms and actions must be maximized. This is one of the components for a breakthrough to happen. Andriy wants to say something. I just disagree slightly because I'm observing, or let's say I'm, as a citizen, first of all, I'm participating in some typical iterations of radical reforms. I would love that at least somewhere we would analyze the lessons learned. If we get the success or we don't, if it's a good result or not. Okay, if this judiciary reform, the radical one, what it leads to, people don't trust the judiciary. And they feel that there was like no justice at all. To me, as to a citizen, what I really would love to get as a citizen, every time when we start, again, radically reforming something from the scratch, for us to honestly tell ourselves, what have we done? What was a good thing? And the process, what did we get? Maybe something couldn't work in Ukraine. Maybe something was not okay or wasn't fitting Ukraine. We don't have bananas. We can't grow them elsewhere in Ukraine. Pineapples, let's say, in open soil, we can. So some things we simply cannot adapt to that territory. We cannot. Let's be frank. Let's be realistic, saying no. We can't just say no, we will implement everything in a month. We'll get like courts like in London. We can't do it. You say yes for the next iteration or attempt, but you want to analyze. Without analysis, we won't fly high. In military and defense sector, we have those lessons learned. Like in all successful things, we have to analyze the mistakes and achievements. Okay, Svitlana mentioned at the beginning how important it is to be frank with yourself, saying this is a complicated situation, and not be afraid of the complexity. But also saying that here we moved forward like 3 meters, we managed to move ourselves forward. What is the price of that movement in each sector? Education, healthcare infrastructure, whatever. Svitlana, you want to say something? Yeah, briefly. Radical judicial reform, it hasn't been there yet. No radical still, because what happened then? It was a sort of radical reform. It looked like it, but no radical per se. And society feels that with their own skins, you know. And if I try to answer all the questions that I heard, this is the spot of pain. That we're attempting, we fail. We're attempting, maybe something works. We have another attempt and another try. But we have certain fear. When we, like, looking back above the shoulder and looking like, if it's a judicial reform or whatever, a simple thing is there, like, what we managed to do, what we didn't, why, what is the reason for failure. We just, again, have the next try without analyzing. Yeah, Andriy is nodding. Yeah. So this habit, this routine thing of analyzing the previous steps and evidence-based approach is of high value when we have to understand what are the initial data, why it didn't work. If we speak of the breakthroughs, yeah, we all realize that out of 51 million people we had in 1991, now how many of us we have, like, on this planet, 25, 27, whatever, the situation is not getting better. And when we talk about breakthroughs, what does it mean? That we won't do it manually, we won't break through manually, but only with intelligence then, with our brains. In those sectors where we have high level of engagement for the intelligent power, let's say. That's what we can do, considering that we won't have so many hands. Much more hands we won't get. So education is the key. The peace formula, it sounded there from that part of the hall. So what politicians do need to invent the peace formula? I'm pretty sure that politicians must be brave enough to realize and understand that something is as it is and shape the proper agenda. As a state, we quite often, and I do realize, there are certain limitations, like why are we doing this right now? But we are trying to stick to requirements we get, and we try to comply with expectations, meet those expectations. But it seems to me that the possible component of that peace and success recipe, our own agenda. It's not that we can start implementing it after today's gala event, but we have to get that agenda. We have to start thinking about it and shaping it for our frontline victory to help us to win the future. Okay, we just have 2.5 minutes left. And what I would love to offer us all to do, you know, in my strategizing, I have one of my favorite words. Let's say making it possible, enable. How can we enable our country to grow the wings, to have the capacity to grow those wings? Each of us will have 20, 30 seconds, please. How to enable, how to empower ourselves. So your like final part. Okay, so I would love us all to remember now why Sophia's icon, and do you remember that upper part, ones with the wings, and St. Michael is there close to the central part with a sword? Okay, this is what I'm thinking about. This is what I deal with, and I won't say anything more today. Thank you. Svitlana, I won't invent anything new. We have to work hard. We have to be determined, systemic, and intelligence must be nurtured. Yes, thank you so much. Vyacheslav, please. I totally agree. That we have to work hard, we have to work a lot, I agree, and we have to work using the same labor ethics that you mentioned. For your conscience, for your heart, as Svitlana just tells me, to keep you from doing something bad. Okay, Oleksiy. The culture maybe should mention. We didn't use that word today. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. I agree with that, yeah. So even the answer to the question, like which industries and sectors we should focus on, it's not important to pick something or throw something away.
So if we'll have a culture of responsibility of trust, then the people will take care, will understand where it's working, where it's not working. So this development of culture, the understanding of what we can do, what's our grounds, why one reforms are working, why the others are not, why can't we, take the reform and have it implemented as it is? That's the answer to the question that is the kind of the basis.
Дякую, Олексію.
Thank you, Oleksiy.
Отже, дорогі колеги, і
So,
в залі, і колеги, які
fellow colleagues, both online and offline,
думали над тим, як
we thought of how Ukraine would grow the wings.
прекрасного і непростого одночасного
We
поєднання.
had this combination of faith and the ability to stand on your ground, creating sense and justice,
Підприємницької енергії,
entrepreneurs, energy, initiative, and the ability to reach goals, and the science, substantiation of data, and other things. I believe that every one of us has their own stories about where the wings are coming from and how the wings are grown. I don't know if you have felt that maybe the wings are starting to grow somewhere behind someone's backs.
уможливлювати те, про що ми мріємо, і робити так, щоб ми такі звідки, де ми є,
Now, it's
опинились
important
там, де ми хочемо,
for us
як
to be
підтвердили
where we
нам
are,
наші панелісти.
and as we were confirmed by our panelists, it's all in our hands. There are things that we cannot have an impact on, but there's so many other things that we can develop, and this is something that we've talked to. This is something
Дякуємо. Андрій
that
Андрюшків,
we wanted
військовослужбовець
to
ССО.
raise. I thank to Andriy Andrushkiv,
Світлана Кhyliuk,
I thank to Svitlana Khyliuk, the director of the School of Law at UCU, and Vyacheslav Klimov is representing the Nova Poshta, and Oleksiy Molchanovskyi, that's the person responsible for innovations at the Ukrainian Catholic University. My name is Oleksandra Baklanova, and I deal with strategy. That was a wonderful conversation. I wish those thoughts develop in our minds and lead to conclusions that would make
Пані і панове, дякуємо.
these good
Дякуємо
things
Олександрі,
come true.
Андрію, Олексію,
So we
Світлані,
thank
Ярославу.
To
Я думаю, ми
our
всі
panelists
дійсно
and
натхненні.